Why not? I could use some pain. Hello book besties, good evening, good morning, whenever you're watching this video. It's your girl, Emasu, a fellow book lover that's always on a binge. We have a little over 2 months left in the year, and I figured we should go through all of my 5-star reads, which is not a lot considering how I just started my reading journey last year around the same time. So I don't think there will be that many, but we're gonna see which books they are and we're gonna rank them together. I have a few categories that I've decided to put on here. At the very top, we have the God tier. This practically means a 6-star read. So it's above and beyond a 5-star. This is a type of read where I just can't stop thinking about it, lives rent-free in my head, and will always have a special place in my heart. Now this one here says it's exactly 5 stars. Like, no complaints whatsoever. A very valid rating. Now the third one down here, in the moment it was. This means that after I read this book, I felt that 5-star read, you know? But then as time goes on, I'm not thinking about that book anymore. That 5-star feeling faded off to like a 4-star or 4.5. So I have that category there. The fourth one here says, what was I on? Was I on crack? Was I high on something? Because why would I give this one 5 stars? Like, how did I end up there? Lastly, my old taste. Now, I'm a firm believer that my taste in book is ever so evolving. Ratings do end up changing for me, and that's okay. My opinions can change, therefore my taste can change. All right, we don't have a lot of books. Like I said, I've had 42 books that I rated 5 stars. The first book that we have here, I'm just gonna go left to right, but if they're part of a series, we'll just do it all together. We have Throne of Broken God. This is the second book in the Gods and Monsters series by Amber V. Nicole. This has to be my favorite dark urban fantasy romance. So far there's 3 books out. The 4th book actually comes out later on this month, and I'm very stoked for it. We're gonna rank all 3 books that I have on here because all 3 of them I gave 5 stars and above. This is actually a God tier series for me, and it's still ongoing. The Book of Agile I gave 5 stars, Throne of Broken Gods, and where's the other one? Oh, Dawn of the Cursed Queen. I gave 6 stars. But overall, this series itself, God tier. God tier. A Touch of Gold and Madness. This is the first book in, I keep forgetting the name of the series, Celestials of Arcadia. This is the first book in that series, like I said, but there's also a prequel to this that I have yet to read, but I am getting there. I will read it. This is also another dark fantasy, urban post-apocalyptic fantasy romance, and it's truly amazing stuff. The world building, the magic system, also wild. You have your elementals, you have your kinetic, 2 opposing sides going at it at war, and I would say this is exactly as it should be. 5 star. Hands down, very valid of me. Next, okay, we have Binding 13. Let me tell you, I am taking my sweet ass time with this series. I have only read up to Saving 6. And I read Saving 6 in August. And it is now October, almost November. Will I be picking up Redeeming 6 in November? Yes, why not? I could use some pain. Binding 13 I gave 5 stars. Keeping 13 I gave 6 stars. Saving 6 I also gave 6 stars. But overall, it is indeed a God tier series for me, and I'm still reading it, and it's also still ongoing. The thing with this is it is indeed a contemporary romance. It is not really a sports romance per se. They don't really highlight it on it as much. It's more of trauma, emotional damage, toxicity. It's a whole lot of emotional baggage romance, and I'm here for it. This series gets a lot of mixed reviews. I personally am loving the series, no matter how traumatizing it is, because it does talk about very heavy topics, and you really need to read your trigger warnings when you're reading this series. You have to read it for your own mental state. Like, please heed the warning of the authors when they tell you to read the trigger warnings, because it is a lot. But I love it, absolutely love it. I feel for so many of these characters. My favorite has been Joe and Aoife so far. Joe and Aoife, I would say, are very real and raw. The things that those two do for each other. And I think that's kind of why I'm putting off Redeeming 6, because their story just affects me so much. I can't, every couple pages I have to stop and put the book down and like give myself 10 minutes to recuperate. That's how I was reading Saving 6. So I'm very terrified to read Redeeming 6 because I think it will take me a long time to get through it. Next, we have Onyx Storm. This is the 3rd book in the Empyrean series, which came out earlier this year on January. This one I also gave 6 stars. Fourth Wing I gave 5 stars, and Iron Flame I also gave 6 stars. I don't know why a lot of people don't like Iron Flame. Personally, I loved Iron Flame. The Empyrean series itself is also a god tier. Yeah. I have to put it there. This series is peak fantasy romance for me. Is the whole like world building that deep? No, it isn't. It is definitely more heavily focused on the romance itself. The world building is great too, okay? The plot itself, perfection. We are going places, that's for sure. But for me, I'm definitely more focused on our female main character and our male main character's romance progression. But the whole fantasy aspect to it, amazing. Love dragons. I even got a dragon tattoo. And I must say, Zayden Ryerson, our MMC in this series, has to be one of the best book boyfriends to exist. Right next to Samkyul from the Gods and Monsters series. He's my number 2. Zayden Ryerson is number 3 for me. Nocticadia, this is a dark gothic academia romance. We've got a professor ex-student romance going on, Forbidden Love. Dr. Death, our male main character, Deverick Bramwell. This man, the things that comes out of his mouth. My favorite professor to ever exist in dark romance. I said what I said. So Nocticadia, I'm gonna put exactly. Very valid of me to give that 5 stars. No notes. Perfect. A Dowry of Blood. Now this is a Dracula retelling in the form of a confessional letter in the POV of his first bride, Constanta. This is quite a journey. Like, we go through centuries with this woman. From when Dracula first finds her and turns her into his bride, to her journeying on and meeting his other brides. We see through these characters how difficult it is to differentiate from love and obsession, the consequences of immortality, and the things that they have to do in order to gain their freedom. I just love the story so much. My first ever Dracula retelling that I've read, and I loved it. This is by S.D. Gibson. Amazing stuff. And it's also very, very poetic, guys. Oh, this next one is the most recent 5-star read. In fact, it's actually an infinite star read. Is it a rating, really? No, infinite does not exist in the 5-star rating system. But it is so above and beyond that it's even more than a number. The impact that this book had on me, so many emotions reading this book, all the trauma that our main characters go through, Helena Marino and Kane Farron, those two, they have such a special place in my heart that whenever I think about them, I just start to get so emotional. This is not a fantasy romance book. It is a dark fantasy book, period, with a love story weaved in there, but it is not the main point of the story whatsoever. It is just a tragic love that's been brought up because of war and post-war and what they go through, the consequences of each side's actions, the truths and the lies. And Sen Yu knows how to really make you feel all these type of emotions just through her writing, her world building, the way that these characters were developed and how their character progresses throughout the book. It's incredible stuff. God tier. This book talks about very serious topics that actually reflects in our modern day society. I'm gonna cry again thinking about these characters. Anyway, let's move on. We have The Right Move, which is the second book in the Windy City series by Liz Tomforty. You can see there's 3 of them here, actually. We have Right Move, Play Along, Caught Up. Oh, no, there's 4. I lied. And Rewind It Back. That is 4 out of the 5 books I gave 5 stars, guys, in that series. It's an interconnected standalone series, so each book do follow a different couple. These four books, I don't want anything changed in those books. Truly 5-star reads across the board. This is also a God tier series. All of them, God tier. They're each 5-star, but they're just God tier in my eyes as well. I can relate to these characters so much, especially the female main characters. I see myself in Indy a lot, and The Right Move has to be probably my favorite one out of the series. Their love is everything. We have Quicksilver. Now, this is a fantasy romance. In the moment, it was a 5-star, but now as time went on, I don't find myself thinking about it. This is gonna go, in the moment it was. The fact that I was listening to the audiobook while I was reading it made the experience 10 times better. But when I'm thinking about it after the fact, to me, it's not a 5-star read no more. And I can't even really recite how the story goes in this one. I know there's fairies. I think this book is more of a 4.5. Will I ever change my ratings personally on like my Goodreads or on Fable? Probably not. I'm very lazy, so I think this is more of a good introduction to fantasy romance. The Madness Obsession. This is a dark mafia romance. It is the second book in an interconnected standalone series by Danielle Laurie. It's called The Maid series. Perfection. Absolute perfection. Christian Alistair, the best mafia man I've read about. Will do anything for his woman, including unaliving men that just stare at her, okay? And then we have Gianna, the sassy woman that she is, the very headstrong, knows her worth, will not back down in an argument type of woman. Both of them combined, this is intense love and obsession, as the title suggests. Next, we have Daisy Hates. Daisy Hates is the second book in the Magnolia Parks universe. I gave this one 5-star reads, and honestly, valid to me. Exactly. This is also a contemporary romance, but I would highlight that it is a very toxic contemporary romance. The definition of toxic love. Daisy Hates and Christian, they keep missing each other. I need to get back into reading this because I want to know their story and how it ends. I can't really say that because they don't even have their last 2 books out. So I'll just be left at a cliffhanger. Anyway, it was exactly 5 stars. What can I say? I love the drama. Next, we got some cowboy romance. We got 2 of them actually. We have Heartless by Elsie Silver right here, and then Reckless. This is the 2nd and the 4th book. In the Interconnect standalone series, The Chestnut Springs, they were just 5 stars. You got your single daddy nanny trope with Heartless here. Reckless, it's a trope that I did not expect that I would like. The men and the women in these 2 books were for me, one of the best character growths in that series, and are also the best characters in that series. So yeah, just love them. Next, we have the Mindfuck series by S.J. Abbey. This is a dark thriller romance. I would say the romance is more of a subplot because really it's about our female main character and her story and her backstory. Honestly, one of the best dark romance thrillers I've ever read. Ever. And it is also God tier. I gave this book 6 stars. I finished this book in 12 hours and it's over 1,000 pages long. Yeah. Mommy Lana Myers. I support all her rights and especially all her wrongs. She is just the baddest FMC I've ever met. If you don't know what the Mindfuck series is, it basically follows Lana Myers, who is a serial killer, and she meets our male main character, Logan, who is an FBI profiler that is unknowingly in charge of her case. And he doesn't know that she's the one been wreaking havoc in the city. She covers her tracks so damn well, they even think it's a man that's doing it. Because Lana Myers, a fucking genius. I need to do a reread of the Mindfuck series. Like, it is that freaking good. And I keep thinking about it every single time. Like, I could recite what happens in this book almost chapter by chapter. Kingdom of Ash. This is the final book in the Throne of Glass series. We have a couple of Throne of Glass books here. Again, one of the best fantasy book series I've ever read. I have to put it God tier, guys. I just have to. All of these ones, definitely God tier. I'll put them all there. I don't really have much to explain for this. It is like a great introduction to fantasy. The world building, love it. The characters, love them. The things that Selena Sardothian goes through, like this female main character is another one that I would say is one of the baddest I've also met, that I've also read about. She is very strong-willed and strong-minded, also a genius of her own. Literally no one knows what she's gonna do. With that, I'm just gonna put A Court of Mist and Fury and A Court of Wings and Ruin. I would say this is also God tier. These two books in that series, 100% God tier. This is actually my first fantasy romance I've ever read. In fact, it is the first series that I picked up that got me back into my reading journey once again. So they have a very special place in my heart. Personally, I loved how simple the writing was. It was a great introduction to fantasy romance. The romance between the female main character and the male main character in this series are one of the top tier romances I've ever read about. Leave Me Behind by K.M. Marnova. This is another dark romance. It is a dark military romance. These 2 characters, Bunny and Bones, their military code names, they are fucking insane. They are both unhinged characters. I gave this book 5 stars. Exactly. I'm valid for that. I can't change my mind on it because it's just how I feel to this day. Like, I had that good of a time with it. I think I was in a huge reading slump and this got me out of it. Daughter of No Worlds. I believe this is the War of Lost Hearts trilogy by Carissa Broadbent. These 3 books are here. Each one of them I gave 5 stars. Do I still think about it like I did when I gave it 5 stars? No. If I think about it now, it would be more of a 4-star read or 4.5, like the series itself. So I'm gonna put in the moment it was. It is also a fantasy romance. Still loved it, but not enough for it to be a 5-star now. Redeemed by Lauren Asher. This is the 4th book in the Dirty Air series, and this one follows Santiago Alatorre. Yeah, exactly, because it's Santiago. It is our Iron Man. This series is a Formula One sports romance. In this one, it touches on very emotional topics. Santiago just goes through exactly that. Things that would change his way of life, the way that he sees things, the reckoning. This is the third book in the Zodiac Academy series. I am still in the middle of the series. In fact, I have not read The Shadow Princess yet. I'm getting there, I swear. You know, it is a big commitment for the series. That's why I knew from the start it's gonna take me a long ass time to finish it. But anyway, The Reckoning, I gave 5 stars, and yeah, everything just tied in together, you know? They just like, they all tied in. And how the twins, our family main characters, have kind of like broken out of their shell, you know, like grew even more into their powers, into their roles, was just amazing. I loved it. We left off at quite of a cliffhanger, so I need to get back into that because, like, what do you mean with that ending, you know? Love Arranged by Lauren Asher. This is the 3rd book in the Billionaire series, or Billionaire trilogy, really. This one I would put in the moment it was. This definitely made me cry. I actually had a reading vlog for this. I believe it's my most anticipated reading vlog, because it really was. I was very hyped up, very excited to read this. And because I was so hyped up and very excited to finally have the last book in that series, I think I kind of rode that high all the way to the end. But now that like time has passed, like a couple months actually, I never really even thought about this book in all that time. Next we have Enchantra, which is the 2nd book in an Interconnect Zone series by Kaylee Smith. I believe it's called Wicked Games. The first one is indeed Phantasma. I gave both of these 5 stars. This is definitely my old taste. It's not something I would give a 5-star read now. It was a very fast-paced fantasy romance, especially when it came to the romance aspect to it. As I grew with my reading and my taste in reading, I much prefer a slow burn. Enchantra, this has more of a slow burn aspect to it when it comes to the romance, but I feel like the story or the plot itself is definitely more a lengthier version of Phantasma, because both are in fact games and trials. I think just the layout of Enchantra was underwhelming compared to Phantasma. I would say I put this on What Was I On, because it was definitely not a 5-star read. So I don't know. I think I was just high. We have the 1st book in the Shepherd King duology by Rachel Gillig. This is One Dark Window. Now for this one, I would definitely say that in the moment, it was a 5-star read. The idea of using tarot cards as a magic system and bringing it to life was truly amazing to read about. But how the story progressed, like thinking on it now, is not really something that I would say was a 5-star read for me. Nightfall and Killswitch, which are the last 2 books in the Devil's Night series. And this series for me overall, absolutely loved. So yes, I would put both of them, the 3rd and 4th book, in exactly. I love these 2 couples, Damon and Winter, Will and Emery, one of the best couples I think in that series. Are they all types of fucked up? Yeah, every character in fact in this series, they're all fucked up, but they gave me such a good time, so I can't complain. Anyway, that's the tier ranking for this. Hope it was eventful for you guys. As you can see, I don't have much 5-star reads at all. But I think as our reading journey goes on, we'll definitely have some more on there. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye!